welcome to Josef's Model Railway and Toy Room. Thank you so much as always for joining me. Just a little bit of housekeeping. You don't need to like, follow or subscribe to any of the videos I put out there. I just put them out there where I can. Have a holly jolly great time doing so. Today, I'd like to welcome you for what is mostly a quick video, and let's just call it a little bit of a hodgepodge of what's going on at the moment. At the moment, you saw in the previous video, we're going to develop this scene here and recreate a bit of a scene sort of from Open All Hours, the popular TV show. Now, of course, we've got everything we need, but we're working backwards on this scene slightly. So I don't have a lot of actual explanation in this video or demonstrations. It's just sort of seeing what I've gotten up to at the moment, which while it seems like not much, and it is, because I'm just waiting on one single piece of balsa wood, which will be the actual road plate, that we can whack our 2 coats of clear straight on just to seal it nicely. And then we're going to do something new, which we'll discover in the next video, which is where we're then going to use the Woodland Scenics asphalt that we did use in the car park. And you may just see off to the camera over here that we've used in the past, which I'm very fond of, but we're not going to use the Smooth It compound underneath. So we're going to try something a little bit different. We have everything else and all the other parts went in, up to and including, I just want to quickly share with you this, which is at the end of the street where the Open All Hours shop is located. And that is where they have basically fences. I believe it used to be a timber yard or something like that. I've managed to come across the Hornby office and gate, and I have got something planned for this little shed which would sit across from it and the gate. So it's not quite the same, but you're kind of getting a bit of a vibe. So I've got something a little bit interesting planned for that. We're going to discover later on when bits become available. So you'll see things like me taking our beautiful knock retaining wall that we've talked about before, and it's a bit too thick with the bulk, and then I cut it down to get to this. So you'll see a bit of footage of that going on, and a little portal tunnel that we've created at the back. And for the most part, we've actually pre-wired some of the wiring loom ready to go for some key light fixtures we're going to put in. As I said, the build itself is going to be quite different to others that we've done, and it's highly customizable because it's such a tight space and there's a lot I want to do. But even though I also have the footprint ready to go for where the buildings will sit and ready for the cabling and everything we need to go in there, we have everything we need, but without that base plate that I need, I can't even finish doing the retaining walls, putting in lamp posts, or even the stairs that we've been working on that are going to join in to create a bit of a pedestrian access up to this scene. It goes without saying that plenty of planning has sort of gone into measurements of exactly what we can and can't be doing in that. So while there's a lot you're really keen to see, one thing I can say is once I've got that piece measured and dropped into place, pretty much everything's going to just start dropping and going into place. Everything's pre-planned, cut and ready to go. So I'm expecting a little bit of a different type of build as we start to get the scene going on. It'll be a little more quicker because everything's sort of pre-routed. We've got everything ready to go for where the electricals need to drop down. We've got our lighting hubs all ready to go down the bottom there. So I'm pretty much just ready. That one piece is going to be everything, but without it, I can't do anything. But we do need to get started, so let's dive into the video, have a look at a few bits and pieces that we've been up to and get stuck into it, shall we? Let's go. Right, we need to get started. Now, we've got to get rid of all this stuff, but before we do, you can see I've purchased a few pieces of your hobby balsa wood or what have you. These have worked quite well for us in the past. But basically what we need to do, we know we've got at least 1 meter to work with from the canal over to here, and we're still not sure how it's all going to look. But what we do need to at least do is we need to create a frame to sit it on, and that's basically what we're going to do here. Well, let's get stuck into it and create a bit of a tunnel. With everything looking smooth there, what we're going to do is join it up. Now, we're not doing the structured approach we did before. We're actually just wetting our timber down, and we're just going to use the standard sort of clear Gorilla Glue. I'm also going to scribe the end facing us near the canal with kind of a step stone type of an effect. I'm not sure how we're going to finish that up, but we just glue it, put it on the angle and let that stuff bead down. You can see I'm also just trying to correct a minor little bit of a bend there, but it's all turned out quite well. And that stuff is absolutely solid, but we have glued it to the edges though, which is different. Can you see this? We're going to paint this grey.
Yeah.
Okay, take the brush and I need you to brush it on. Do you think you can do that?
Yeah.
All right, but we can't get any on the carpet. We have to keep everything nice and safe.
Do you think I should go slow?
Now this is a little bit different than how you usually paint. Dad puts the paint on first, then you paint it. This is going to be the footpath for where the shops are, you see? So you won't know what this is for a little while because that's going to take a long time building this, but what we're doing is making the footpath. So we're going to come in with the paint, okay? All right, now if you want to, we're going to grab that brush. I'll do a little bit so you see what I do, and then I want you to do it. So we've got our brush. What you're going to do, I just want you to do that. All of them. You need to paint it all.
I was thinking about that.
Okay, now you got to be careful with it. Now what I recommend is holding it a bit like a pencil. There you go. Now you've got a bit more control, and you've just got to keep brushing back and forth. There you go. Good girl. Oh, I'll hold that. There you go. Back and forth. Beautiful. Yep. It's got to be all done. There you go. There you go. Good girl. Get it in there. Good job. Good job, sweetie. That's
I can
great.
do it easy.
Yeah, don't push down too hard on the brush. You just let the brush do its work. It's a bit like your hair. You want to sort of want to backwards and forwards lightly, you know, like this, lightly. See how I'm just lightly doing it? Yeah. That way, because look what happens. If you hold it hard, but if you do it, see how it's nice and soft and fluffy? That's why you want to make it nice and light. Tickly. Beautiful. There you go. That's a good job. You can keep finishing it all up there. Because then we've got another bit to do after that.
All done.
Okay. Keep it over the paper. We wouldn't want that to get on the green carpet. Okay. Good job. Now, Dad's just going to come along. You can all relax. This isn't the joy of painting with Bob Ross, but it's a bit of fun to get the little one involved where you can, and hopefully they'll carry on in the footsteps, or not. Now, let's get that paint all wrapped in and let it soak in. And for those of you that haven't seen the episode regarding concreting real fast, we're just taking a little bit of a model wash on a sponge and dabbing it in, and that'll just bring out those expansion joints quite nicely. We're still going to do a bit more texturing, but this will do for the base. And now we return to an old friend. For those of you that haven't seen, please do go and check an earlier video where we're making the stairs to the coastal scene. Oh, and what am I up to here? I completely forgot about this section. On the actual open all hours shop, there's a lantern that hangs down, and the closest I could find was from Langley Models. Now, we've had to modify it quite a bit based on what they're doing and the way they want to wire it up, but we are going to the extreme of illuminating it. Now, the one on the shop front actually is illuminated with some sort of advertising on it. I won't be doing that, but let's see how this one will turn out. We're going to use one of the little tiny Litz micro LEDs in there and see what we can come up with. That's what I'm gluing. And we're just going to paint it black and see how we get on with this one. For whatever reason, I never got the red door I was chasing, and we didn't end up using the other model, so I decided I'll just paint one of the doors myself. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it just will break up this row of terraces beautifully. I did a few different layers here, and we did get there in the end. Sorry, I didn't grab a tripod. There's the red door there, but we also did just take all the kits for the stairs that are in modular assembly that we can customize as needed, and just sprayed a bit of the Zinc-It galvanized spray on it. So as you can see, we've just come in, we've popped a bit of that galvanized zinc spray onto those steps and areas like that. We've also done the base bit that we needed to do for where the shops will sit at all, but I am going to come back with some black for the doorknob, and I'm going to use a little bit of that gold for that letterbox. It's not as bad as I thought, except for that there on the side. I just mixed a bit of this one and this one, but I am just going to take just directly this one, just to where that white was. It's polished gold actually, it's a Vallejo colour. yeah, it's tempting to do more, but I think I'm probably just going to ruin it. Welcome back, and I just wanted to bring you up to speed for a minute because unlike other builds, this one's getting a little bit more backwards because we're waiting on parts, so I've got to just do what I can do while I can get what I can get. So we're waiting on some of the bigger stuff here to lay down, and then we can put our roadway down. But that doesn't stop us from carrying on at the moment. What I didn't film and just did yesterday, so you're aware, I did just paint the inside here just a black. Often you want to keep your tunnel sort of a darker color. I haven't done it at the other side. We may but go back and do it, and I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm still not sure what the story is in this cavity here. Could look like a bit of an underground sort of a thing or something. Some posters. I'll probably put a support leg. Don't know yet. And I put a little bit of gray there. So the next thing what we can do is, you'll see in the previous footage, I was busy getting all those steps painted. So we've got steps, and we've at least got the framework of where the houses need to sit. So we can at least start getting it roughly. Doesn't matter about the heights per se, but let's get it into the right position, because then I can start looming the cords for what we're going to need for the lighting. And we can start creating a bit of the staircase and a subframe for the other half to sit on. Let me just stop you here for a minute and share a top tip. As you can see, we're starting to pre-drill the holes. This is good because I can make sure it's backed in where it needs to be against the back wall. So the trains, that's why you could see me flicking them back and forth all the time. And our cable route. Remember, we're going to have another sheet of balsa wood that actually sits. This will actually be our roadway. Sorry, we're putting a roadway, and then we build the rest up. However, we need to drop the electrical cable through this hole here. And what I wanted to say is, obviously we've been doing the fiddle yard. So you want to get yourself a towel, a sheet, tea towel, whatever it is that you use, I would recommend, and just put it under there to catch any excitement that might fall. Now we're using a 13 millimeter drill bit, which, to translate that for the rest of you, I can get about 12 feeds of the standard black and red figure 8 cable up here. So we're going to do a few things with a distribution hub up here as well. So I probably need to be feeding about 6 or 7, but we want to make sure there's plenty of room to go to where we need them to be. And that's what we're basically trying to catch with the towel. Sorry, the telephone rang. I thought it was still recording. It wasn't. So let me just quickly break you through on what we did. We did look at maybe putting a few different types of conduit just to run the cord through. I was going to even think about gluing the cable directly down to the timber, and I'm umming and ahhing about another section we're going to have to come back to for the lights in the shops accordingly. But I'm not going to overthink that at the moment. We've cut 6 strands. We're actually only going to need 5 lights at the moment. But what we're going to do is, the little conduit we've just laid down is actually the top of a bit of wider one, and we can feed the cords through. I was going to literally lay the cables down, which is what you would have seen in the last time lapse. But I like the idea that if we need to add or change something, this is going to be easier. Remember, the buildings and everything are going to sit free. Nothing's locked down. So this is a scene that can quickly keep evolving and changing as required. So we've just left the glue on there at the moment for that little bit of conduit. The thicker one was good, but I only had 1 millimeter of clearance when I've laid the cork track and then put the wagon on it. Whereas this way, I'm back to at least 6 mil clearance just in case. And I think that can't be a bad thing. We can always rip it off if needed. Well, because some cables need to go in all different places, we are going to glue and lay flat. We need 2 to go to the shop, 2 to go to the other shop, and a couple to feed the apartments. So we did sort of glue down. Don't mind mentioning, I also did need to glue an additional cable down to send out to that shed that we're up to at the end. So We're just going to glue them down. They're out of the way. We can always pull it off or relay new ones, and I don't envision doing that. And as you can see, we can keep clumping them and moving around while we work with the scene. Again, they're really just waiting for the road base. The buildings sit in, we plug them in and wire them up. But we've got to get a couple of heights right here and make sure we're on the right level with everything. But we now need to start creating what we're going to do with the scene. And I don't mind, I don't want to lie to you, I've got still no idea how it's all going to come together. But as you can see, I managed to pick up some more of this knock retaining wall, and I thought we might as well use what we had down below near heading behind the station. And I'll have to go back and watch that video myself because I can't quite remember how I textured it up to get to that color, because we're going to need to soften it, darken it down just a little bit. But my other phone is charging and my wife is at home. I have no idea how I've ended up having to cut these knock retaining walls again, but if you follow the link somewhere here, you'll watch the original video to how I did many of these. One tip I've noticed, and as you can see I'm not on the kitchen bench because she's at home, is that if you just keep the knife going and just gently apply the pressure like you're feeding it through, you will get a bit of an easier result. If I would have known that before, I would have just kept things going. Still, here we are, not far to go now. We'll speed this one up to 5,000%, shall we? That'll get us to the end quick. Beautiful. And finally, to wrap this one up, we're just going to pop back here and bead a bit of glue down on sort of some preset stairs that we're going to need. It might seem a bit of overkill, but they're nice and solid, and we'll clean them up and put the tops and bottoms on once we've got the final heights. Well, girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much as always for joining me. It is a bit of a mixed bag that we see there, but rest assured that by the time you're watching this, what we've needed has arrived, and I'll be carrying on and getting some good content happening from that point forward. We're going close to that 200th, which will mean it's nearly Christmas time and we need to get a running session going. So I'm very keen to get this one locked in and for the most part completed. I've got a couple of other surprises that I'm going to be still on a pre-order with regarding a couple of finishing touches to the scene. I can't do anything about that, but they'll just be dropped into place as we carry on. For the most part though, it's full steam ahead to try and get this one finished in the next couple of videos, and I'll certainly look forward to joining you again in those. Until then, please do stay safe. Toodles!